Well, good morning. I am not Kate Daniels, and I apologize. I know you all were looking forward to seeing Kate. She does send her regrets she could not be with us today. So on behalf of the Wayne County Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors and staff, we want to welcome you to the annual State of the Community briefing. We are grateful for the County of Wayne and the City of Goldsberg for their partnership in bringing this annual event to the community. We are pleased to welcome all elected officials who are with us today. Will you please stand, all elected officials? Thank you for your service. In addition to our elected officials, we are also pleased to welcome the 2021-2022 Junior Leadership Wayne County Program. The Junior Leadership has boasted more than 405 graduates since its inception 23 years ago under the Wayne County Chamber of Commerce. These high school juniors went through a rigorous application process to make it here today, and will have the opportunity to see Wayne County through a different lens of intense career exploration. Today is Law and Government Class Day, and we are excited to have them with us. Would the members of this class please stand? Let's give them a hand. Thank you. At this time, I do want to recognize our sponsors, and I ask that you hold your applause to the end. Our presenting sponsor is the County of Wayne. Our community investor sponsors are the City of Goldsberg, the Housing Authority of the City of Goldsberg, Sigger's Fence Company, UNC Physicians Network, and Wayne UNC Healthcare. Our friend sponsors are John G. Best Wells Fargo Advisors, Wayne Community College, and World Contracting. Let's give our sponsors a hand. Thank them. Our first speakers this morning are from the City of Goldsberg. Mayor David Hamm was elected to the Goldsberg City Council in 2015. A native of Goldsberg, Mayor Hamm is a retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel serving over 25 years. Tim Salmon, Goldsberg City Manager, is the Chief Executive Officer of City Government and is responsible for daily operations and overseeing all city departments. Mr. Salmon is a retired U.S. Marine Corps Colonel with over 30 years of leadership and management experience. Please join me in a warm welcome for these two gentlemen.
Give me a moment to get myself together here. I just rushed over here from another speaking engagement with the Golden K, and but I didn't give them the presentation I'm going to give you. Maybe I should have as a practice, but anyway, we're here. Kevin took away my thank yous that I was going to give to certain people, but he left out a couple of other. We have business leaders here, people that make this city what it is. And I want to thank you for taking time away from your jobs, your commitments that you might have, and thank you for coming out here. I also want to say that for the junior leadership class, some of us sitting here in this room, recently served on a panel with what was referred to as a senior leadership organization. And those were junior leadership people that didn't have a chance last year to do much in terms of activities like we did before. And so I got to meet some of those members. Any of you here today that was there for the panel discussion, I think they were all seniors as best I recall. So, and you're juniors throughout the high schools here in the county and the city. So it's a pleasure to see you here. And I want to say thank you for your interest in being a part of this county, this city, and taking responsibilities that you have and assuming the responsibilities that you're going to have as you move forward in your career. I can't think of anything better for young people in this county, high school juniors, to do than participate in this program. It gives you so much opportunities that will benefit you in the future. So anyway, enough said on that. I believe, and aside from business people here today, we also have some, I'm sure, some residents who are just interested in knowing what the state of the city and the county is. So thank you for your interest as well. It doesn't hurt at all to have our residents to be aware of what's going on in the city, to see it from the inside, so to speak, by attending sessions like this. So anyway, thank you again for taking your time. And of course, we have some city employees here that I want to thank for all the jobs, all the things that you do, things that you face every day in making this city work. People that are not involved have no idea what it takes to make your life normal here in the city in terms of city services and so forth. So thank you all as we don't do enough, to be honest with you. So anyway, I'm going to start out here. The theme of our North Carolina Freedom Fest coming out of COVID event in September was one community. I truly believe we have one of the finest military and civilian communities in the county, in the country here in Goldsberg. That was evident to anyone who attended the activities that recognized our military and first responders and their families for their sacrifices. From the volunteers of the nonprofit organization that stood up to organize the various events, to the business sponsors who supported them, to the Air Force Sergeants Association and other Seymour Johnson Air Force Base personnel who made MIA POW events happen on base and off base. And let's not forget, as I just mentioned, our city employees who helped make it all happen. This was truly a monumental effort that resulted in the largest festival this city has seen in recent history. Over 11,000 are estimated to have attended the main events on September 18th. That's a pretty impressive figure, to have 11,000 people downtown seeing these events, and it was highly successful, highly successful. If you didn't attend, you missed a great event. So the next thing I want to talk about is our being really resilient. Our city and county have been through some significant crises in the last 5 years, such as Hurricane Matthews and Hurricane Florence and coronavirus. We were in a state of emergency still, so to speak. First was COVID-19 and then the Delta variant. And who knows what is next in store for us in the next year or so. Through it all, however, Goldsberg, Wayne County, and Seymour Johnson Air Force Base have fared rather well, bending like a strong tree in a Cat 5 hurricane, but not breaking. During the COVID state of emergency, we modified our activities according to the governor's executive orders to slow the spread of this deadly virus and potentially save lives while keeping our economy going as best as possible. Thankfully, Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, Wayne County, and the city government functions provided the economic stability that has been helpful to all during that trying time, or these trying times. We're also adaptive. The city used $967,000 in federal coronavirus relief funds on short notice to fund public health measures, grant to nonprofits, employee payroll expenses, public economic support, and purchasing of PPE, personal protective equipment. We offered Family First Coronavirus Response Act benefits to roughly half of our city employees who were either isolated, quarantined, or remained at home during this period for child care and elderly support requirements. We also offered telework to employees to the degree possible, and still do to some extent. The city will use $8.8 million in American Rescue Plan, or more affectionately known as ARPA, funding over the next 3 years. that will go through 2024 to enhance budgetary and financial stability. This $8.8 million that I just spoke of was broken down into 2 increments. We got our first portion of that this year in for $4.4 million. For the FY 21-22 budget year, our council determined that the first grant of this $4.4 million would be allocated with $1.6 million going into the general fund to make up for lost revenue and growth, and $2.5 in the utility fund for capital improvements. Now, Mr. Seymour will speak more to these issues as he comes up. And so where do we go from here? Through the use of our strategic plan and with the benefits of our strategic investments such as the downtown streetscape and the hub, along with road and utility investments, the city staff and council will determine what best to do in future budgets with the remaining 4.4 of ARPA funding. In addition, we are going to be receiving $907,000 from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, for homeless focus. We will be forming a commission shortly to determine how that money is going to be allocated, where it's going to be spent, et cetera, et cetera. But this will be done by an independent commission made up of residents of Goldsberg. The city will not make these decisions. We will oversee it, but we will not be involved in this decision making. Also, on a personal interest of mine is the city of Goldsberg does not have an economic study or active economic plan, economic development I'm talking about. And I think it's essential, it's critical that we have a plan as how we're going to prepare for growth of this city as we move forward. We've been very fortunate so far. We've been able to get investments downtown. We've got investments outside of downtown, but we don't have a strategic plan or a master plan as how we prepare for growth. As I said earlier today, and we've said often, Johnston County to our west is the fastest growing county in the state of North Carolina. And that's because movement from Wake County and other counties are moving east. And they're also moving into the western part and northwestern part of Wayne County. That means that there are going to be houses constructed, businesses built, and to provide services to these new residents. And of course, we're going to get new industry as well. So we need to seriously, we meaning the council, seriously need to think about having a economic development strategy as we move forward in the next 3, 5, and 10 years, as I like to speak of that term. So that's going to be one of my priority things. It's not my biggest concern at the moment, but it's one of the priority things that I feel very serious about. So that's it for me. I'm going to turn it over to our city manager, Tim Solomon, to continue on. We'll have a question and answer period after, I suppose. Tim?
Mayor, appreciate it.
Get my water.
Yes, sir.
Take a picture of it.
There you go.
Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's great to see this wonderful crowd out here today on a beautiful day. And it's truly my honor and privilege, let me take this off, to speak to you about the city of Goldsboro and what's going on in the city of Goldsboro. Before I do, though, I want to recognize our elected officials. Truly, they are working on their constituents' behalf every day. And every 2 weeks, they get together, both in the county and the city, and they make significant decisions that affect our lives, both now and in the future. And I want to thank them for that. So when I gave this presentation 2 years ago, I was here 6 months, And one of the first things I tried to do with the city staff was work on the strategic plan. There was one in work, but it, in my opinion, needed to have a little bit more behind it. So when we had our council retreat in February, we confirmed our vision and mission and goals. But what's behind those goals are objectives and measures and targets that we should be trying to reach. We want to know where we're at, where we're going, how we're going to get there, and when we know we've arrived. And that helps you prioritize your issues going forward. So I'm going to use this as a format again to talk about where the city of Goldsboro is. So next slide. When it comes to safe and secure community, most people might think of the police department first. Our overall crime rate continues to decline. It was about 78 crimes per 1,000 people back in 2015. Now, today, it's 58. That's about a 25% decrease, or 5% per year. Can't thank the police department enough for this. They've done a great job. They've also professionalized their force. With the commission on accreditation for law enforcement agencies, with the CALIA certification we got last November, it's key to understanding that your police force is exceptionally professional. If I recall correctly, Chief, there were over 400 items that you guys had to qualify in. Can you nod your head to that one? That's a lot of stuff. So I appreciate truly what you guys are doing. And they also focus on community policing. You see the picture to the right there. This was during the George Floyd protests downtown with peaceful protesters and our police force literally hugging each other and saying prayers together. I don't think there's a better picture of community policing than that one right there you see on the screen. But our police officers go beyond that. Every quarter we have community policing events where they go out and they may help landscape someone's home that truly needs it, or they may be out holding a kickball event or a cookout so that the public knows these are their friends, these are the guardians, these are the protectors, not the enemy. And Chief, great job with that. And we're so supportive of you. We increased the pay to keep our police officers and retain them here about 5%. And we also did a little bit to adjust the compression issues over time. When we raised the lower end of our police force, this year we increased the pay for our corporals to captains so that there would be a career path that they would want to stay at Goldsboro in. Next slide. Equally competitive with our police department is our Goldsboro Fire Department. They are insurance service office rating 2, which is in the top 5% of the country. And that has to deal with the training that they're doing, the amount of people they have, the type of work, how quick they can respond to emergencies, and also our water supply that can put out a fire with the right pressure in the right places. So one of our metrics is how fast we can respond to emergencies. You're supposed to be able to do that within 8 minutes. Our fire department is on scene within 8 minutes with a full crew, 97% of the time. And we benchmark these things against the UNC School of Government, where there's 15 cities that are working within that benchmark study, and the average is about 82%. So good on our fire department. They're also very good at water rescue. Recently certified by the North Carolina Rescue Association. They look forward to becoming certified or deployable Type 3 team, which means they can go to local adjacent states and help when we have hurricanes and such like that. There's truly a need. And they're very good at what they do. So I think January last year, if I recall correctly, we had a car go into a pond. They responded. They got the person out of the car before the car sunk, which it eventually did. So things like that, unfortunately finding drowning victims, and in hurricanes they were key, and hopefully will be again in the future. And last, of course, continuous community engagement on fire protection and safety. Thank you, Fire Department, for what you do. Next item under safe and secure community is we've got a water reclamation facility out there, which produces quality water 100% of the time over the last year. And any other year, it's been very close to that, if not that. We have a water treatment plant. Unfortunately, that water treatment plant is a 1950 build, 70 years old. We're going to need to replace that. We need to start thinking about that water treatment plant. But in the meantime, we added plate settlers to it, which increased its capacity from 12 million gallons per day to 14 million gallons a day. And what we actually use is about 6.4 on average, which is about average for water treatment plants in the country. Wastewater reclamation facility is probably one of our biggest concerns. We have 14 million gallon per day capacity. But as you can see in this note, when you have inflow and intrusion, i.e. big rain events like we did in the beginning of this year in January and February, we go from a dry month like the last month of 8 million gallons per day to over 19 million gallons per day. So when that happens, your average gets pretty high. And what you have to do is be under 90% before you'll have a moratorium on being able to build or bring companies to the city. We are under that percent right now due to the dry months, but we're close, and we need to do a lot of work on our maintenance for over 500 miles of drinking and wastewater distribution collection systems. And we plan to use the ARPA funds, as the mayor mentioned, for this. Not just the city's ARPA funds, but we hope to get some of the federal money that's coming down through the state, which should be a significant amount when that money becomes available. And then eventually we'll have to increase the rates, I believe, which should be closer to the eastern North Carolina average. Strong, diverse economy. The first thing up I would talk about is Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. You can see the numbers of the economic development here. $612 million was said to have been put into the economy in FY20. In the past, it's been larger than that, about 750 or 770 million. But the military personnel on base have decreased slightly, and some construction has decreased after we completed the hangars for the new KC-46 refueling platform. And what you may not know is there's supposed to be, if you can see the slide to the right there, the numbers, there's 22,000 Air Force people here in Goldsboro and Wayne County. About 11,000 are active duty or civilians that support the base, and the other 11,000 are retirees, all of which bring economic stability to the city of Goldsboro. Next slide. Strong, diverse economy. Outside of the Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, you have about 111 million of building permits this past year, up to right now. So we're going to be higher than that going forward. In the past, we've averaged over the last 5 years about 100 million. So during COVID, we have people investing in Goldsboro. One of the larger ones is Atlantic Casualty Insurance Company at 19 million. 59 new resident dwellings, 12.8 million. And we're expecting business and industry growth with some announcements soon. Strong, diverse economy, downtown. One of the great places, I think, in eastern North Carolina for a downtown. I've been told, I wasn't here, but you could barely find a car there before, and now you can barely find a parking space. I think it's an awesome place. I enjoy the theater, I enjoy the food, and I hope we all do too. But $66.5 million has been invested so far, and here's the results. 400 net jobs, 68 net businesses, 167 building renovations, and we're just really getting started. We're going to add significantly to that when the old bank building gets complete and some other buildings where people from the Air Force or anybody else can live downtown and walk home. Our sports tourism is also a big piece of our economic stability here. And tourism in general was $142 million last year, down 24% due to COVID, but we expect it to come back in 2021. And the Bryan Multi-Sport Complex is a huge gainer for us in that. 1.5 million last year, but in a single event, thanks to our travel and tourism department, what was going to be the Raleigh Lacrosse Festival came to Goldsboro in the midst of COVID because they wouldn't allow them there. And so that generated $940,000 of economic input for that single event alone, which generated about $70,000 in sales taxes and $7,000 in occupancy tax, which adds significantly, obviously, to our funding in the city, and we can help pay for these kinds of facilities going forward. $4 million in 2019, the first year it was open. It really rivals what the Maxwell Center brings in, I think. So great potential for more soccer events. Lacrosse this year, it's now called the North Carolina Lacrosse Festival. We have a men's and women's with over 50 teams each attending that will add significantly to our economy. We expect Quidditch to potentially come back. We're looking forward to an announcement on that. USTA singles tournament. We've had that the last 8 years. We use, I believe, 46 courts throughout the county, and we had over 100 teams or over about 600 people attend. So no small event that our Parks and Rec supports significantly there. And of course, we had the inaugural North Carolina Freedom Fest. Economic impact of that is about $350,000. And I'm sure the county will talk about this, but we're looking forward to the Maxwell Center coming soon. Maxwell Center Hotel. So exceptional quality of life. These things right here might not be what you think about first, an exceptional quality of life, but think about if we didn't have the roads that we do or the wastewater systems for your sewage. This lists some money we spent in the most recent years on those projects. I would just say we have a lot more to do going forward on this, and we'll do it. Exceptional quality of life. Affordable housing is an issue in the city of Goldsboro. Tiffany Gardens project, we will be acting on that council We have a public hearing coming up on that, and then council will make a decision, hopefully, to support that with $500,000 of HUD home funding to help make that project happen. Affordable housing, we've also done the Grand at Day Point for about $14 million, and Jefferson Court for $6.1 million, and their completion status is there in parentheses. And we've also increased the number of people that can receive first-time home buyer assistance. Exceptional quality of life with sports venues. I mentioned the Bryan Multi-Sports Complex, but it does more than travel leagues. It's a home for the football club, semi-pro Strike Eagles, also local travel teams, and City and Seymour Johnson Air Force Base rec leagues. And the UNC School of Government benchmark study that I mentioned earlier lists Goldsberg with the most pools, athletic fields, and playgrounds per 10,000 population. Racial and cultural harmony. We do have diverse council boards, commissions, which represent our citizens in the city. It's probably not as diverse as it should be. I think it's about 46% of our boards are minority, other than white, and so we look forward to more minorities applying to those boards and being a part of our government. The Commission on Community Relations and Development promotes harmony and mutual respect. We have a virtual last year, Martin Luther King Day. They used to do one at the church. I think that was over 700 people that have attended that in the past, but with COVID, we obviously didn't do that. The commission has decided that we will do this next one in January at the Paramount Theater, so we look forward to that and other similar events. And we are striving to increase racial diversity within our workforce. There's about 35% minority within the workforce, so we highly encourage and recruit for minorities in the workforce. Bernadette Dove, our department head back there for HR, works actively to that. And we've also increased the racial and diversity training within the city, where we've had over 90% of our employees receive training online for that. Racial and cultural harmony when it comes to events. The Paramount Theater has several events that you can go online and look at for the different types of performing arts, but I really appreciate that. DGC, the Development Corporation for Downtown Goldsboro, Center Street Jams are certainly something that everybody enjoys across the diverse community. And then inaugural Freedom Fest, while you might not think of that as a diversity event, it certainly recognizes our culture, our military culture in the city of Goldsboro. So excellence in government, strategic plan we talked about is developed. You can find it online. If you go to the city website and go under government, you will see our strategic plan with the different metrics is out there. HR personnel policy was done over the last year. We continually keep that updated. We did a pay study, also done, and we're always looking at that for our employees. Next council meeting, we will have a public utilities rate study presented to council. We had that in the past. This is the most recent update for council to consider. Our engineering department is in the middle of a regional asset inventory assessment. We've kind of taken the lead for towns from Eureka, Fremont, Pikeville, the Genoa system with the county, as well as Mount Olive is tying into this regional look, and we will be figuring out the best way to take care of utilities in eastern North Carolina with respect to Goldsboro and Wayne County. And our audits, our FY20 audit should be completed soon. I expect a presentation to happen in December on that. The Standard & Poor's has maintained our AA very strong rating up to this point in time, and we look forward to keeping that. Another excellence in government. Our city employees are constantly recognized for the great stuff they do. Our IT department has been exceptional over the last few years. The chatbot won the 2020 award for the Center for Digital Government, and they were a finalist in 2021 for overall government experience on our websites and support to our employees. We expect to do a Citizens Academy this winter, educate our citizens on what the city does, events like this. And then our city nurse, Mark Blizzard, was selected as Best of the Boot in the inaugural Best of the Boot campaign here for government employee. And Mark took care of all the COVID issues, understood what the ramifications were, and made sure our employees stayed safe throughout this period. So I think he was recognized for that. North Carolina Department of Labor, I think the city had 24 awards for various years, up to 15 years of proper attendance and safety regulations. So I wanted to highlight that. Oops, go back one. So with a performance mindset, we aim to get better every day. We work smarter and harder to enhance the quality of life for our residents and visitors, employees as well, and their families. We value professionalism, integrity, and customer focus. And I thank you for your time and support today so that we can truly be one community as we work together to make a difference. One community. You will see the county and the city working together very well, whether it's at the elected official level or Mr. Honeycutt and I, from the managers on down to the department heads, to the supervisors, to the newest employee. It won't be long before they're hand in hand figuring out how to support you all. So thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you, gentlemen, for that. That was an excellent update from the city. At this time, we do want to welcome our county leadership. Commissioner Wayne Aycock was elected to the Wayne County Board of Commissioners in 2012 and was named chairman of the board in 2013, a role that he holds again today. Mr. Craig Honeycutt was named county manager in 2017 and has over 25 years of management experience. As county manager, he is the chief executive officer of county government and is responsible for daily operations and overseeing all county departments. Please join me in welcoming Commissioner Aycock and Mr. Honeycutt.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank everyone for being here. And the junior leadership class, this means a lot to elected officials for y'all to participate in something like this. Because ladies and gentlemen, this is our future. Someday they will be in the position that we're in today, either in Wayne County or somewhere else. So that we really appreciate y'all's involvement. Now back to the county. I guess the first thing will be our, did I click wrong? But anyhow, the most important thing, I guess, is to give you an update on the COVID-19 update. The cases are trending downward, thank goodness, thank God. We have 52% partially vaccinated, which that number is about 64,225. We have 47% fully vaccinated, 57,889. The booster shots for children are available now, and it's everyone's choice whether to get the shot or not. I've had all three of mine. I encourage you to get them, but it's entirely up to each individual. Depends on what your beliefs are and possibly your religion. But if you would like to schedule an appointment, you can go to www.waynegov.com/vaccine and make an appointment. And our vaccine location has changed. It was down on Dixie Trail for quite a while. That building served us quite well. But now we're out on 70 Highway West in the old Food Line building in Little River Shopping Center. And that location is working out great. And thank everyone just involved with that. The Maxwell Center, or the hotel at the Maxwell Center, it's moving forward. The plans have been approved. We've actually seen the plans for the hotel, and survey work has started. And that's a project that I want to thank the city for also. This has been a joint project. The county could not have done it alone. The county and the city has worked great on this project, not only for the Maxwell Center, but for the hotel. Speaking of the Maxwell Center for the fourth year in a row has got the Convention South Reader's Choice Award, and that speaks highly for the Maxwell Center. The Maxwell Center generated 1,228,660 visitors or spending for the year 2020. The Maxwell Center is actually doing much greater than we ever visualized when it was built. And thank James Wade and his staff for that. Development update. The regional partnership between Wayne, Lenoir, and Greene counties I was not 100% sold on that project, but I was wrong. It's working great. We can get more out of the three counties working together than us competing against each other. And it's, you know, in today's, with the road system and the traveling today, you know, you can live in Wayne County, work in Lenoir County, or vice versa, Greene County. It's working great. As everyone knows, we just went through a census which has to be done every 10 years. The census showed a slight decrease in Wayne County. Personally, I don't agree with a decrease. I just can't see it. But according to the census report, we were about 5,300 and some residents less than we were 10 years ago. And I can't explain why, but I don't agree with those numbers. We've just went through a redrawing of the county commissioners' district maps, which also includes the school boards. They mirror our map. The maps change very little. All the elected officials, commissioners and school board, the officials that live in the district that they were elected in, it did not change. So we had very, very little change in the maps. And we approved those maps at our last meeting. Capital improvements. There's a lot been going on in Wayne County in the last few years, and a lot to be done. We are in the process now of detention center, the Carrier Winters Detention Center, expanding it. We have issues with the jail downtown, the old one, and from what we're being told, we can expand the Carrier Winters Center cheaper than we can repair the old one downtown. We have got the initial design meetings have been being held on the new DSS and Health Department building. As all of you know, we're in dire need of more space. Right now, DSS is occupied in 4 different buildings. I don't know how Ms. McGuire keeps up with it, but that's in the plans. New Fremont Elementary School has been talked about for a long time. The contract has been signed between the county commissioners and the school board. We're moving forward. The land has already been purchased, and we are moving forward on that project. The heartbeat of the county and the city. The new 911 center, the A.J. Gurley III Emergency Service Building, has been open and operating since December of 2020. It houses the 911 and the Emergency Operations Center. And, you know, we've been through some tragedies in the last 20 years that I've been involved in here in the county, here in the city. And we've got a facility now that is state-of-the-art that we feel like is going to be a great benefit to the citizens. Hopefully we don't have any more disasters or floods or whatever, but you never know. But we are prepared. We have been in the past, but we're even more prepared now. Wayne Executive Jetport. The new apron rehabilitation project is underway. That's a $3.7 million, or we got a $3.7 million grant for that project from state DOT. And the Jetport contributes about $58 million in economic input to Wayne County. And starting next year in January, the Wayne County Board of Commissioners, we're going to try to have another nighttime meeting every quarter. We're going to see how it works out, and hopefully it'll be a success. The briefing agenda will start at 4 o'clock, and our meetings will be at 5. And also, I want to thank our county employees. You know, the county commissioners, we get a lot of credit for what goes on, but we're not doing the work. Our county employees gets all the credit for making us look good. very seldom do they make us look bad. I mean, they do an outstanding job. Also, this coming Thursday, let's remember our Veterans Parade. We are a military community. We have a lot of retirees here from Seymour Johnson and other branches of the service. And just remember the sacrifices that those men and women have made for us to have the freedom that we have today. We can certainly turn out one day a year to thank them for it. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Honeycutt, and I do appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And again, I'm Craig Honeycutt. I'm the county manager, and it's a pleasure to be here. I do want to recognize our board members that are here, Commissioner Daughtry, Commissioner Hardison, our chairman, and Commissioner Gurley as well. So I do want to thank y'all for being here for this event. What my goal is kind of fill in some of the gaps of what the chairman said. We've been doing a lot of things in the county, and one of the big things that we have been working on is, you probably saw, we had a tax increase this year of 4.5 cents. But as the chairman mentioned, we have a lot of capital projects that we're working on. Again, we've got $25 million set aside for DSS and health. If you've not been to the DSS and health building, it was a worn out building when Wayne Hospital gave it to us 50 years ago. So we took their old building, it was worn out 50 years ago. It's time that we replace that building. So I do appreciate the commitment of our board and their willingness to say, hey, we've kicked that can far enough down the road, it's time to do something about it. So we've signed the contract. T.A. Loving will be our construction manager at risk, which is a local company. So we're moving forward with that project. We're also moving forward. We've got the contract signed for, as the chairman said, the Kerry Winders expansion out on Williams Street. That's a $25 million project. As the chairman also mentioned, Fremont Elementary, we received grant funding from the North Carolina lottery system for approximately $15 million. We had to give up some funding for that, but we got $15 million for that project. But there's a match for that project as well. The county had to match the remaining for that, and we have committed up to an additional $8 million for that project for $23 million. So there's a lot of different projects that we've had. We also have, for Wayne Community College, we put $3 million that we set aside for an advanced manufacturing center. And again, these are all necessary projects, but the necessary projects do come with a price tag. So we did have to increase taxes. One of the most positive things, though, that the debt service is why we had to increase taxes. It wasn't for operation, it was for debt service for these new projects. So that's something I think you should be very proud of our board and of our staff, that it's not operations that are causing increases, it's really trying to get these new capital projects. Again, want to also thank the school system. We have a working group that we are working with the school system and the county, and looking at projects and looking at cost savings and looking at ways that we can put efficiencies within the building. And we do appreciate the school system and their willingness to work with us on that. As Tim said earlier, we've been working really close on a couple of projects, and one has been our vaccine center on 70. Another has been the hotel for the Maxwell Center. We had to move out of the Busman building. The Busman building, which is on Dixie Trail, was our location for vaccines and testing. A good thing is we're selling the building for economic development. Bad thing is we had to find a place in a hurry. But working with the city and getting some permitting done and some inspections done quickly, we were able to turn that around and have a really good location at the old food line on US 70. So again, that's a very positive way that we've worked with the city. Also, with respect to the hotel, if you know anybody who wants to put a Chili's or something on the back of the hotel, call us. We'll make sure they get a site. So we're looking for a good restaurant, so that's our next step at the Maxwell Center, is to have good restaurants at that location. But again, we're hopefully going to make a groundbreaking announcement in the spring. They're working on everything now, but again, that was a great effort by both the city and county. Again, I want to thank our staff as well, especially through COVID. One of the things that we considered ourselves as essential employees, because we are essential employees, we have an obligation for DSS to make sure that people get their benefits, their Medicaid, their food stamps. We had an obligation. We can't tell you that we're sitting at home and we're not providing you those benefits if you come in and need them. If you're in the health department and you need a shot or you need to be tested, we can't do that remotely. If you need to pay your taxes and we want you to pay your taxes, we need people there to make sure that they're taking those taxes. So we basically worked through COVID and worked diligently. And again, could not be prouder and happier to lead this staff. Just some incredible people that we have here in Wayne County. Again, I thank the chairman for his presentation. He really hit the highlights of what's going on in the county. We're here for you. Again, we're public servants. We always say that, you ever heard the old saying, you're not supposed to, you can't fight City Hall. Well, you shouldn't have to fight City Hall. We're here for you. So if you've got issues or concerns, please let us know, and we'll try to help you out as much as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for that. It's great to see the city and the county work well together. I mean, well. And it's not always been that way for those that's been around here a long time, but it's great to see that. I do want to bring up some upcoming events that are getting ready to happen with the Chamber of Commerce. This Friday, the Gold City House of Music will be celebrating a ribbon cutting at 11:30 a.m. There will be advertising opportunities available for your business in the annual Wingspan publication that will debut in early 2022. The annual Leading Wayne Leadership Luncheon will take place on Tuesday, November 16th, featuring guest panelist Ms. Sherry Archibald, Executive Director of United Way of Wayne County, Ms. Felicia Brown, Director of Parks and Recreation, City of Goldsberg, Mr. Craig Fote, Executive Director of the Wayne Business and Industry Center at Wayne Community College, and Dr. David Lewis, Superintendent of the Wayne County Public Schools. Business after hours will take place on Thursday, November 18th at 5:30 at TA Lovin Company. Funky Fresh Donuts 1-year anniversary celebration will be Sunday, November 28th at 2 p.m. The Goldsberg Christmas Parade will be Saturday, December 4th at 4 p.m. And the annual Wayne County Chamber of Commerce annual banquet will be Thursday, December 9th at Walnut Creek Country Club. Thank you very much for everything you do to support the Wayne County Chamber of Commerce, and we look forward to seeing you at future events.